A dealership can smell your net worth before you've said a single word. Not from your bank statement, from the way you shut a car door, the shoes you're wearing, whether your hands are steady when you ask about the payment. Somewhere between a $9,000 buy here, pay here lot and a $6 million coach builder showroom, the entire experience of buying a car flips upside down. At the bottom, you chase the salesman. At the top, the salesman chases you across 2 continents. Today, you're going to feel every rung of that ladder, from the moment you're the most desperate person on the lot to the moment you are the lot's entire reason for existing. Here's what we're actually measuring. It's not just sticker price, it's how long you wait, how many people lie to your face, how much of the negotiation is theater, and at what dollar amount the theater stops entirely because nobody needs to perform for you anymore. Money doesn't just buy a nicer car, it buys attention, honesty, and time. 3 things that get more expensive than the car itself once you're paying enough for them. Tier 1. The buy here, pay here lot, $1,500 to $3,000 down. You're standing on a gravel lot at 4:45 on a Tuesday, and the cars are packed in so tight you have to turn sideways to read the windshield prices. The paper taped inside says $8,995 as is, and underneath that, in smaller marker, $89 per wookie. You've got $1,800 in a manila envelope, a pay stub, and a landlord who needs first and last by Friday. The man who walks out to meet you isn't wearing a tie. He's wearing a polo with the dealership's logo half peeled off, and he already knows why you're here before you open your mouth, because everyone on this lot is here for the same reason. Their last car died and they need the next one running by Monday morning. There's no test drive around the block here. It's twice around the parking lot, maybe onto the access road if he trusts you. The financing isn't through a bank. It's through the lot itself, in-house paper, and the APR sitting on that contract is 22.9%, sometimes higher, buried in a stack of forms you're signing on a clipboard leaning against a Coke machine. A GPS tracker with a remote kill switch gets bolted under the dashboard before you drive off. Standard here, no discussion, because roughly 1 in 5 buyers at this tier falls behind within the first 90 days. If you're 4 days late on the $89, that switch can shut the engine off in a grocery store parking lot with your kids in the back seat. What you're actually buying isn't a car. It's mobility on credit that nobody else would extend you. The dealer isn't cruel, he's pricing risk, and the interest rate is the price of a system that has already decided you're a bad bet. Every part of this transaction happens fast, because speed is the only mercy this tier offers. Notice what's missing entirely: a warranty conversation, a loyalty program, a follow-up call 3 days later to see how the car's running. Nobody here is thinking about your next purchase, because the average buyer at this tier doesn't come back. Either the car holds up and they're gone for good, or it doesn't and they're too embarrassed to return to the same lot. The transaction is designed to end the moment the ink dries, and that's the real tell of how little power you're carrying into this building. Tier 2. The mainstream new car dealership, $28,000 to $45,000. Now you're under fluorescent lights, and there's a coffee machine that actually works. You've got a trade-in, a 660 credit score, and maybe $3,000 down. A salesman named Kyle greets you within 11 seconds of your feet hitting the showroom floor. Corporate trains for under 15, and the whole visit becomes a 3-act play he's performed hundreds of times. Act 1 is the walk-around, where he lets you sit in 3 trims you can't afford, so the one you can't afford feels like a discount. Act 2 is the test drive, 14 minutes. Same predetermined loop past a school zone, so you'll notice the blind spot warning chime. Act 3 is, let me go talk to my manager, which is really him walking to a back office to refill his coffee for 4 minutes while you sit alone with the numbers, because silence sells better than a script. The sticker says $34,200, the number that actually lands on your contract after a $799 dealer prep fee, a $499 nitrogen tire fill you didn't ask for, and an extended warranty upsold at the finance desk, is closer to $38,600. You'll spend 2 hours and 40 minutes in that building on average, most of it waiting, none of it wasted on you personally, because Kyle's already got the next family circling the lot. You get treated fine. You just don't get treated like a priority, because at this price point, the dealership needs volume, not you specifically. Tier 3. Certified Pre-Owned Luxury, $48,000 to $75,000. The carpet gets thicker here, literally. It's the kind that shows footprints. You're looking at a 2-year-old 5 Series or an XT5 with 24,000 miles, badged certified pre-owned, which means the manufacturer put its name on a 172-point inspection and backed it with an extended factory warranty that can run to 100,000 miles. Your salesperson has a title now, client advisor, and a business card with a direct cell number on it, not a switchboard extension. He remembers your name after the second visit. There's sparkling water in the lobby, not the kind from a jug. The negotiation is softer, almost apologetic, because at this tier, the dealership's real profit isn't the car. It's the finance and insurance office, where roughly 38% of buyers get talked into a $2,400 extended service contract they'll use maybe twice. You're paying a premium of $6,000 to $9,000 over what a private party version of the same car would cost. And what you're buying with that premium is peace of mind, a documented history, a loaner car if something breaks, and a service department that calls you back the same day. This is the first tier where the dealership treats your time as worth something, but only barely, and only because you're now a repeat purchase customer instead of a one-time transaction. You'll also notice the paperwork itself starts to feel less adversarial. The finance manager isn't hiding numbers in a stack of forms anymore. He's walking you through an itemized breakdown on a shared monitor, because the dealership knows a buyer at this level will read every line and Google the fees that night anyway. That single shift from concealment to disclosure is worth remembering. It's the first honest financial conversation you'll have on this entire ladder, and it only shows up once the dealership decides you're worth being honest with. Tier 4. The new luxury dealership, $80,000 to $150,000. Walk into a Porsche or Mercedes-Benz store at this level, and the air itself feels temperature-controlled to a specific, deliberate 68 degrees. There's a barista, not a coffee machine. Your car, a loaded Cayenne or an S-Class, sits under a spotlight on a turntable in the showroom, and nobody rushes you toward it. Here, the salesperson doesn't chase you across the lot. You get assigned to one by appointment, and if he's good, he already pulled your trade-in's value and had a configuration ready before you sat down. Because at this tier, client retention is worth more than any single sale. He'll spend 90 minutes with you and never once glance at his watch, because his annual bonus depends less on units moved and more on your satisfaction score on the post-sale survey. Dealerships at this level can lose factory allocation for scoring below a 4.7 out of 5. The financing conversation changes shape entirely. Instead of what payment works for you, it's would you prefer to finance through us at 5.9% or use your own bank? Because the assumption, correctly, is that you have options. You'll be offered a loaner from the same model line while your car's serviced, not a shuttle van. This is the first tier where you stop feeling grateful for the attention and start expecting it, because the dealership has quietly recalculated what a customer like you is worth over a 10-year relationship, often north of $400,000 in vehicles, service, and referrals. Tier 5, the exotic and supercar dealer, $200,000 to $500,000. This is where the entire logic of a dealership inverts. You don't walk in and buy a Ferrari 296 or an Aston Martin DBS off the floor. You get put on an allocation list, and the list itself is the product. A dealer principal, not a salesman, sits down with you personally, because at this level, there might be only 4 or 5 of this exact configuration coming to the entire region this year. And he decides who gets one. Your history matters more than your credit score. Dealers here keep informal ledgers on loyalty, how many cars you bought from them before, whether you flipped a limited edition for profit within 12 months, whether you showed up to their track day last spring. Flip a car too fast and you can find yourself quietly blacklisted from the next allocation, no explanation given, because scarcity is worth more to them than a single sale margin, which at this tier can already run $30,000 to $60,000 over MSRP anyway. The buying process can take 4 to 9 months from deposit to delivery, and during that stretch, you're invited to things. A private dinner at the factory rep's expense, a track day at a circuit 2 states away, a walkthrough of the paint to sample color wall where a $4,200 upcharge for a custom shade barely gets mentioned. Nobody asks about financing unless you bring it up, because roughly 71% of buyers at this level pay in cash or a single wire transfer. The dealership isn't selling you a car anymore. It's selling you membership. Notice too what disappears completely. The hard close, the manager who has to check with his boss, the sense that anyone in the building is working against you. At this tier, the salesperson's incentive and yours point the same direction because his career is built on a client list of 40 families, not a showroom quota. Losing you as a client costs him more than losing the sale in front of him ever could, and that changes the tone of every single conversation you have with him, right down to how quickly he returns a 9 p.m. text about a delivery date. Tier 6. Bespoke coach builders and private collector brokers. $2 to $10 million. At the very top, the dealership doesn't exist as a building you visit. It exists as a phone call. A broker who represents 6 or 7 clients total flies to you, to your home, your yacht, your office, carrying a tablet with 3 or 4 cars that aren't publicly listed anywhere because at this level inventory is never advertised. It's whispered between 40 or 50 people worldwide who already know each other. You might be commissioning a one-off coach-built body on a Bugatti chassis. A process that takes 18 to 30 months and starts with a designer flying out to sketch renderings based on a conversation about your favorite yacht's hull lines. The deposit alone can be $500,000, non-refundable, before a single panel is cut. Every stitch of interior leather is chosen against swatches laid out on your own dining table. There is no test drive loop past a school zone. There's a private track booked for an afternoon, just for you, with the factory's own test driver riding shotgun. Money at this tier doesn't buy speed, it buys patience going the other direction. You wait longer than anyone below you, sometimes years, because true scarcity can't be rushed for anyone, including you. What it does buy is total authorship. The paint is mixed to match a photo of a sunset you sent over email. The clock on the dash is inlaid with a material chosen to match your watch collection. The broker doesn't work for a dealership's quarterly numbers. He works for you, exclusively, and if you called at 2 a.m. because you changed your mind about a stitching pattern, he would answer. There's no showroom floor at all in the traditional sense. No rope line, no other customers wandering past to glance at what you're buying. The entire experience is built around privacy as much as craftsmanship. Appraisers and upholsterers sign non-disclosure agreements before they ever see a sketch, because word of a one-off commission leaking early can undercut the exclusivity the client paid for in the first place. Even the invoice looks different. Instead of a single line item price, it's a running ledger updated month over month as milestones are hit, sent quietly to your family office rather than to you directly, because at $10 million, the paperwork itself has become someone else's job. Run the tiers side by side and a pattern falls out. At the bottom, the dealer holds every card and speed is used against you. Sign fast, drive off fast, fall behind fast. In the middle, you're one of thousands, treated well but interchangeably, because the business model runs on volume, not on you. At the top, the entire relationship reverses, you become scarce to them, and time slows down entirely in your favor, stretched out over months of dinners, fittings, and phone calls that exist only to keep you happy. The manila envelope and the $500,000 non-refundable deposit are separated by more than zeros. They're separated by who is allowed to wait and who has to hope. If this opened your eyes to how differently wealth is treated, hit like and subscribe for more.